we're talking today about the myths and realities of AI in employability solutions. Jack has started the recording, and you will be provided with a copy of the recording afterwards. But a lot of our work today is actually going to happen in breakout rooms. So what we're really wanting to do today is something a little bit different from the norm. We want you to really be telling us, what your thoughts are in terms of employability solutions. And what we want really is to be able to go into breakout rooms, discuss some of these issues that we're having with adoption of AI, issues around AI, any misunderstandings, not enough knowledge about it, whatever it might be, so that as an industry, we can all learn together from our peers and we can support the sector in the best way possible. So what we want to do is try and go into the breakout rooms. We'll ask, we have some facilitators, but there's a lot of people. So we might ask one of you to become a presenter and a facilitator for your group. When we do come back, after we've discussed elements, what we're hoping is that the facilitator will relay what was said, but build on anything that hasn't been said by the other groups. Otherwise, we won't get through everything. Yeah, the more you contribute, the more we'll be able to basically gather the information and provide a report to you of the state of play, but also potentially some insights into where the industry could go next. We've still got a few people coming on board, so I'll just pause for a minute before we proceed. Okay. Okay, I think they're in now, so I'm going to start off with sharing my screen. So, as we said, myths and realities of AI in employability solutions. So what we're going to cover today is, as I've already done, talk to you about how we're going to conduct this meeting today. We're going to then sort of try and uncover some of the common myths and talk about the realities, but also then talk about, well, what are the opportunities? What are the use cases for AI in employability solutions? And how effective are those solutions? And then hopefully we're going to have plenty of time as well for question and answers, but if not, you can always send them through to us. So shall we start with our first breakout? We want to really understand, are you using AI in employability solutions or not? Or are you looking to use AI in employment support? And if so, what areas are you really looking? What are the pain points that you've got that you think AI can help with? So Jack, over to you. Do you think that you can put everyone into a few groups?
Yes, I can. If there's any trouble with facilitators and you're all in the same room, just jump back out into the main lobby and I can put you into the correct rooms.
If a facilitator doesn't put their hands up to say, I'm your facilitator, then please pick one from your group and have them feedback.
All right, here we go.
Sarah got cut off there.
Don't worry. So Ian was in full flow and we cut him off as well.
Yeah, apologies, Dan.
Some good conversations happening, I think, though.
Absolutely.
We got Nuri back.
Bro, when I first started streaming, bro,
I think she might be on mute. There we go.
I'm back, but I got shoved out.
Time. I'll never be a real fucking job.
Sarah, can you mute?
Never believed in me.
We had some problems in our group.
They were doing that in our breakout room as
Sarah's-
well. They probably need
Yeah.
to be removed.
I'm gonna remove them from the meeting. now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they're leaving.
Unmuting and
They're
carrying on.
board.
That's a new one.
So Jack, I got shoved out of my room.
Oh, sorry about that. Did it not put you back into the main
No.
lobby? Oh,
Is
would-
this the main lobby?
this is now the
It is.
that was the timer ending
Right,
because it
I
was set
see.
up for 5 minutes. It does happen
Okay.
quite abruptly, but no, this is now back in the main group. So this is everyone. Don't worry.
Okay, interesting. Sorry that we got our conversation quite cut up, but I suppose just I will feedback very quickly, and then if the presenters in the other groups could feedback. I think there was a mixed bag. Some people have been using some tools, and some people are really exploring new tools and what the possibilities really are. So it's great to see that I think the areas that have been used is really in the CV checking areas, and in particularly the interviewing sort of elements. So if anyone else wants to add to that.
We had a similar conversation about CVs, but some concerns sort of about the responses that are outputted by some of these tools and using AI to create CVs, and potentially the risks that could have on removing that personalization element on the CV that is created, and then potentially candidates getting withdrawn from recruitment processes because of issues with Americanization spellings, just sort of errors within the CV and the screening that takes place. So yeah, a lot of CVs seems to be how it's being used at the moment.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add to that from their groups? Alistair, maybe?
We had a pretty disruptive group just with one of the sort of people on the call, so we didn't get to get very far. I think so far we had one that started using and one's hoping to start using, but we didn't really get to go into any details there.
Okay. Jason?
Yeah, in our group, it's early adopters for the most part, Copilot, ChatGPT, clients and users, obviously, and how the companies are adapting to that new process. And FedCap a bit much further along, so now we're using it as part of interview skills as part of the process. So yeah, generally early, still very keen to find out what can and can't be managed with it.
Right. Anyone else want to add to that from their group?
Yeah, so from our group, we didn't get to go through everyone, unfortunately, but the people that did, everyone seems to be using AI in some capacity. Some was a bit more personal, so kind of using it to find scenarios from different industries, maybe that they're going to be doing interviews for, so they can get a little bit more of an idea of what kind of questions will be relevant, all the way to kind of using it actually in-house to kind of push content towards job seekers so that they can kind of build their skills specifically for the industry they want to go in. So
Okay. I think there was one more group.
Any facilitators out there?
There's 5 groups total. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, so I think we've all fed back then. That's great. Okay, so one of the key things that has been sort of, a bugbear, if you like, or a real issue for adoption, and one of our first myth reality discussions is really about bias. So in terms of that, what we'd really like to know is, are AI parameters biased, and do you feel that that information is therefore unreliable? We've just talked through about how the accuracy of maybe those interview questions or the personalization in terms of CV building isn't necessarily there. So is that a serious concern in terms of adoption? And maybe if we can discuss that, that would be great. So Jack, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, just to confirm, this is a timer of 10 minutes, correct? And then everyone will be brought back into the main lobby. So just so
Sure.
people don't think they're being cut off.
Sorry, Jessica, we're obviously going to have to grab that, finish that conversation when
Yeah,
you're
I
back.
know. It's all right. It's all right.
We'll get whiplash from this by the end of
Yeah.
it, but we'll capture everything we can. Oh, and Alex, I saw you had your hand up. So obviously keep that thought. We'll grab you in the next session.
Yeah. So I think there's a little bit of, people are using it, but really there's a lot of more interest in looking at what solutions are actually available. But we did want to just say that there is a little bit of misinformation when using these tools is adopted. And there is a little bit of concern around reliability from my group. Is that the same from some of the other groups, Jason?
Yeah, it's so that adoption has all the concerns we would expect. Annie mentioned the fact that the IT security training has now changed, and it's only asking you what sort of threat AI has, and it's like, I have no idea. We'll learn, we're getting there, but I think the idea is it's affecting the education side, employability, qualifications. If writing a CV is part of your qualification and the AI does it for you, I'm assuming the qualification has to change, or the ability to do it has to be plagiarism checked, that kind of thing.
Okay. So just in the interest of time and some of the feedback from my group, just want to really talk about this bias in issue and the sort of unreliable information. But essentially, there really is different types of AI, and someone mentioned that in my group as well, and they all bring varying degrees of risk to bias and reliability. But like every other bit of technology, it's really about ensuring that transparency and accountability, including addressing bias. So what does that really mean? Well, in the uses that are in the consumer space and in the employability space, we're really looking at narrow AI. So that's not to be confused with general AI, which is a step above and which isn't actually in, as far as we know, in the consumer space at the moment. Narrow AI is really where a piece of AI technology is really looking at one domain. And that is not the same. Generative AI is part of narrow AI, but it is different from general AI. And it's really important, I know, to actually understand these definitions, because when you're then talking and trying to understand what the different risk parameters are, this is where the risk in narrow AI is lesser than in general AI. So in narrow AI, what we're really looking at is where the AI is directed to one function or one domain, whereas in general AI, we're really sort of looking at it trying to be more like a human being. And super intelligent AI is really where the stuff of sci-fi movies really are, where the intelligence is above human intelligence. Now, that's not to say that the current AI can't, do things faster, quicker, do the analysis better, but really it still needs human intervention. And so we're not at that super intelligent AI at the moment, but that is what everyone is obviously worried about. So looking at narrow AI and looking at the reliability of AI, this is what the hallucination comparison is. And hallucinations is essentially where AI can make up things that aren't actually quite right or aren't quite true. And this is the bit that is, quite a bit of concern. But as you can see, even from November the 1st, 2023 to essentially just a few weeks ago, those rates are going down. So the accuracy rates are going up generally, and the inaccuracies are essentially coming down. And as you can see, the AI landscape in terms of who the players are also changing. I know some of them have obviously changed their names as well, but I think that this is really interesting that GPT, for example, is actually 97% accurate and is only, if you like, has an inaccuracy of 3%. So, and it does actually answer to most questions. So, 100%. I know that there are some where, we've had less than an experience of that. So I think that this is really interesting to see how far AI is going in such a short space of time in terms of overcoming that particular issue in relation to reliability. And as I said, narrow AI is really around not using it, only using it for one purpose. And that is really what the employability solutions are about, so that there is less issues in relation to bias. And I suppose one of the reflections that might come from this is, are we expecting the AI to be of a different category or accuracy than humans themselves? So do we ever actually calculate how biased and reliable humans are in the first place? So I thought that that would be something that was interesting and certainly something to reflect on. The other sort of thing is really about looking at whether AI leads to job displacement and how will this impact on the sector and participants. And just maybe with, is that a concern for you in the sector? Is this something that you're worried about in terms of work coaches themselves or the actual participants? And instead of going into a breakout room, maybe we can just have comments in the chat. The reality really is that AI is replacing some roles. And I think that the next video that I'm about to show you here probably says it better than the slide. So I am just going to make sure that the sound is on, and
Just checking everything's coming through okay, Nuri. Still no screen share.
sorry, could you not hear that sound?
Screen share is coming up now. We've got an empty desktop.
Okay, sorry.
How do these complement?
Oh, I could hear it for a second then.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, I will.
Oh, good reminder, Molly.
Let's do it again. Can you see it now?
It's on its way, I think. presentation mode hasn't kicked in yet.
A lot of people can be replaced by this technology. Yes, there are some job occupations that will start to decline over time. There are also new job categories that will grow over time, but the biggest change will be the jobs that will be changed. Something like more than 2/3 will have their definitions change, not go away, but change, because they're now being assisted by AI and by automation. So this is a profound change, which has implications for skills. How do we assist people build new skills, learn to work alongside machines, and how do these complement what people do today?
This is going to impact every product across every company, and so that's why I think it's a very, very profound technology, and so we are just in early days.
Every product in every company.
That's right.
So
A lot of people can be replaced.
I think AI will create many jobs in sectors that are harder to automate, such as health and social care, and that is the reality. So this report by PwC showed that the most plausible assumption is that the long-term impact of AI is going to be broadly neutral. So really it's unclear. So the myth that there are going to be job losses and they're going to be profound is kind of counterbalanced by the explosion in other areas, and not just digital, but also health and social care. So I suppose the reality is that, are we really, in terms of reflection, can AI actually assist those at the moment currently furthest away from the labour market, and can they actually thrive? Because the skills needed to work alongside AI may actually be quite different from the people that are currently in the labour market. And it is actually knowledge workers that are actually going to be most affected by AI in the new world. So that has profound implications on, us as a sector trying to find roles and the way that we're training those people in terms of the future labour market. And that labour market isn't actually that far away, or the new ways of working isn't actually that far away. And as you know, it takes time for people to adjust to new ways of working, let alone new technologies. So again, something to reflect on in terms of that particular issue. And then the other thing that I think it would be worth actually discussing in a breakout room is how the thought that human interaction is superior to machine interventions, and how can that be rectified, or how can that be used with AI in the current space, especially for employability solutions, when we're trying to create efficiencies, but how do we actually manage the need for the human touch? So maybe we can go into breakout rooms now to have a look at how people are envisaging that would be resolved. Jack, are you able to put people into rooms?
People are moving into rooms now.
We're getting better at this. We were ahead of the game.
We almost
So we were right on the line.
Yeah, I think we were as well, just this time.
Okay, so just sharing screens again. So thanks for everyone. The reality really is that AI can help work coaches to foster deeper understanding of their participants. And in some cases, and this might be the surprising thing, is that AI coaches have actually proven to be more effective than human coaches. So is that real? Well, this is peer-reviewed research and it's very, very recent. It's 2022. And this was a scientific experiment that actually shows there was a control group that had, if you like, real coaching. And then the purple line is essentially those that only had an AI coach. And as you can see at the beginning, the chatbot that was there over the period of 3 months basically resulted in a significant upturn of essentially goal attainment. So there was a higher incidence and effectiveness in terms of completing goals due to essentially being coached by a chatbot as opposed to an individual only. And as you can see at the top of the element here, there's no dip, it's still going up after essentially month 8. And the real reason for this is because although AI may not be as empathetic as you might imagine, one thing that AI doesn't have or doesn't actually do is judge. And that is a big factor in the human condition in terms of increasing confidence, increasing motivation, and being able to essentially converse with someone about their situation and be able to be advised to move, how to move forward. So that's really good to see. But it's also in terms of how empathetic and how that sensory perception is actually moving, the blue dots here are essentially, where it's getting to achieving that human level performance. And as you can see that in all of this, the social and emotional sensing, the reasoning, the social and emotional output, and that sensory perception, it is actually getting better and faster than initially anticipated. So the blue lines are where it's expected to be at the top end, the dark blue, and the grey is where it was expected to be. And as you can see, everything is moving much faster. So it's not just exponential, it's actually beyond exponential. And so getting to what are the opportunities for AI in employability services? Well, it's really across the whole journey. And you can see here that there are AI mentors, there are deepfake mentors. They can understand through voice recognition or text recognition. You can actually speak to an AI mentor. They can then help you take you through a skills assessment, find the gaps in your skills, and then also provide you with personalized career guidance, obviously not advice, but guidance. And at the same time, they can do that CV enhancement. I know that, and writing support. I know that some of you are using that and it's not always reliable, but I think it also depends on the type of AI that you're using that we discussed previously. And that can also lead to, for an individual to understand the predictive sort of job market analysis. So what is actually happening in real time? What is the labour market information in terms of the area that they're living in? Applying using live job boards, all in this employment journey, and matching those skills again to those jobs and profiles, and providing alerts where essentially that those things are available to them, but also allowing the work coaches in terms of what we call sentiment analysis to understand where emotionally an individual is in terms of feeling confident, feelings of control, frustration. All of those things are now available to be detected through that employment journey in using AI. And obviously, human intervention can be interspersed here, so that those alerts are sending that information back not just to the individual, but also the live work coaches to support in real time. So you've all sort of seen some interview preparation and giving feedback, and that is getting better and better. And then on top of that, there is that mental health support and just the motivational elements because it's accessible 24/7. And then the good thing about it is that it can carry on even after a person has actually acquired a role, to keep enhancing skills, because that is something that's going to be crucial for absolutely everyone. And this is already available in the market in a single journey. And it's something that we've actually developed already. The importance is using both human and AI together in terms of designing it. Our particular solution is called Create Your Own Future, and it really provides throughout that whole journey real AI data and insights that really help work coaches to not only cut their administration time by almost 72%, but then that gives them the additional time to actually spend with people. It has got that emotional sentiment analysis, so we can also alert work coaches in real time to speak to someone so that they can continue motivated on their journey. I know that we are running out of time, but we do also have what the effects and the impact of this kind of service can be. And as you can see here at a quick glance, it really is quite amazing in terms of the soft data that you can get, as well as the hard data, and the net promoter scores in terms of the user feedback for this type of journey is really, really high. So if anyone is interested in seeing something like this in action, please do get in touch. But I wanted to really make sure that we had at least a couple of minutes for questions rather, if there was anyone that had some questions.